Okay, so I have now polished and patinaed and cut out my mandala, and I am now ready to mount it onto my wooden canvas. So the canvas that I'm using is just a normal MDF wooden canvas, and it's got a bit of a thickness to it, which is nice for hanging it on the wall. It's got a nice thick frame. So I've just painted my canvas a nice color, and I'm now ready to fix. So I'm going to use the floating method of fixing my mandala, and how I fix it in a floating method is I use these little steel pins. So they've got a little hole in the center. They are about 1.5 centimeters long, and normally they are used with electrical wires. I got these from my husband a while ago, and they work perfectly for this. So you're going to have to shop around in the hardware stores, electrical shops, to find something similar. I think it's important that it needs a hole in it, because that's where the beeswax goes into when we start fixing. So in order to add that to my mandala, which is already filled with beeswax, I need to heat up that little pin. So I'm just going to use a lighter, and then I've got a little plier, because this thing gets hot. So I hold the pin with the plier, and then I'm going to heat up the side, and then I'm going to sink it in slightly into the beeswax. You don't want to press too hard, because you're going to make a mark on the front. And you want to choose your deepest spots in your mandala. So for me, it's round about here, which is, if I turn it over, which is this area, which is a very nice high area. So I'm going to put one behind this one, that one, that one, that one, every fourth, or 4 of them, every second one. You can also do on every one, but every second one would be more than enough. And then I'm going to put one here, and one here, one here, and one here to hold the center. And what is important is that you would like to have them evenly spaced inside, so you would like to have to eyeball this. So I will heat this up, and then I will sink it in, hold it a little bit until it is set, and then go move on to the next one. So for heating up, I just use a normal lighter. You can use a candle. This heats up quite quickly. Heated it up, and then just hold your hand stable, and then just slightly sink it in, and then just wait. And there the beeswax has set around the pin again. So you don't want to press too hard. You don't want to see a bubble on the front of your pewter. So I'm working very softly. And then we're going to add some beeswax around this little pin to secure it a little bit more. But first we need to add all our pins. So second one. we go. Okay, and then I'm going to add some in the center. There. So you don't want this to go too deep. You need to keep it at the same height as the other ones. So I just normally eyeball the height that I need to insert it. There we go, and then one more. Go. And then I'm going to add a little bit of beeswax just around the areas. So I've heated up my beeswax again. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of beeswax for some extra support. So I've used this method on my bigger animal pieces, and they weigh around 1.5 to 2 kilograms a piece, and I've got about 10 to 15 pins per piece, and they've been hanging for over 2 years, almost 2 years. Here we go. So that should be enough support. Now I'm going to fix the pins to the wooden canvas with some epoxy adhesive glue, which is just a 2-part glue that you mix. I like using the epoxy glue to adhere my pieces that are heavy. Normal contact adhesive doesn't do the job for me. I find that it starts peeling away after a couple of months, where the epoxy doesn't do that. It really sticks. And it sticks to any surface, whether it's metal or wood or canvas, it doesn't matter. Okay, so just put the wax off again. So I've fixed this little pins now with some extra beeswax, and now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to place it just more or less in the spot and just see that it is nice and even, and it is fine. So I'll fix it like that. I'm happy with that position. Just need to make sure that it's nicely centered. That. Okay, so for mixing the glue, I use just a little wooden piece, and then the glue consists out of a epoxy adhesive, which is part A. Now, you normally just put a little bit on there, and you need to use this immediately after you've mixed it. And then part B, which is the epoxy hardener. Normally they come with 2 different color lids, and you need to put 2 even pieces on. And then I take a little toothpick just to mix the 2 parts together. And I now seem to have lost my toothpick. Okay, so now I take my toothpick and then I just mix the 2 parts together evenly. Make sure that it is nicely mixed together, otherwise it won't set. Okay, and then I just take a little bit on the toothpick and I drop it onto each pin. And for this you need to move quite quickly, because this sets quite quickly. So rather mix a bit too much, because you won't have time to mix a second round of glue. Okay, so you want a nice fat bubble around your pins. Like that. And then I just turn it around and I fix it now. And you need to make sure before you put it down that it's in the correct place. So then I would just press down and put something on that is not too heavy, but you need to have a little bit of weight on here. So I am going to use this glue pot, which is not heavy enough. So I'll use something else. I'm going to use my phone. Okay, so I'm going to use my phone, put that on there. This is nice and heavy. So what you want is you want enough pressure to make sure that the pins are all touching the wood. And now you need to just leave it to dry. Okay, so that's how I fix it in a floating method.